Hi, my name is Isoke. Hope you all are doing well. In this short video, I am going to fill and create the seating chart for the two big tents. The two big tents are the Republican and the Democrats. And also, we'll be talking about the interest group that align with this two big tents and where they sit in this tent. So, the first interest group I have here is the American tax reform. Also, the business group. These two groups advocate for taxes. So, for tax issue for Democrats, Democrats aim to increase taxes, especially for the rich. They believe government need money to spend on things like healthcare and some other social issues. So this is a front seat issue for Democrats. For Republicans, they believe it's not okay. That is a disincentive for the rich to work harder. It's also a front seat issue because they are working towards reducing tax, especially for the rich as well. For religious group advocate for things like abortion, advocate for things against LGBTQ, advocate for prayers in school. For abortion, Democrats is pro-choice. They believe every woman have the right to either keep a child or take it out. So for them, this is a front seat issue. For the Republican, they are pro-life. Yes, they talk about it, but not as much as the Democrat talk about it. So I would say it's a floor seat issue for Republican. Then for the gay right protection, yes, the Democrats talk about this a lot of times. So, but not as much as abortion. So I would say this is a floor seat issue for Democrats. But for the Republican, it's a nosebleed issue. I think they care less. I haven't really heard them anytime campaigning during this election period with the gay rights, whether for or against, but we all know they are against the gay right protection and they really do not talk about it. So I would say it's in a nosebleed section for Republican. Then for prayers in school, Democrats really do not talk about this. I haven't heard where they talk about it any recent time. So I would say it's a nosebleed issue for Democrats. But for the Republican, they do talk about it. But not as much as other burning issues like the taxes. So it's in the floor seat. And then the next interest group is the National Rifle Association, which advocate for gun control, or rather against gun control. For Democrats is pro-gun control, and the issue is in the front seat for Democrats because in recent time I have heard conversations, I've heard campaigns where they talk about gun control. And for Republican, it's also a front seat issue simply because Democrat is seriously against it and is looking for every opportunity to control gun, and they feel it is their right to own a gun to protect themselves. So it's also a front seat issue for them. And the next interest group here is the racial and ethnic minority right group. We have groups like the NAACP, which is the National Association for Colored People, the Black Lives Matter. This group advocate for the minority. For Democrats, we know that a lot of majority of the minority are leaning towards Democrats. So the Democrats, these issues talk about things like the affirmative action. They want government to put policies in place that will right the wrong of the past, policies that will address inequality. So for Democrat, this is a front issue. They feel the black have been oppressed in the past, the minority have been oppressed, and so the government should right the wrong is a front issue. For the Republican, they are against it. They feel it's the best thing to build a racially blind society, and that's the way government can achieve um, um, equality in the society. So, however, I haven't heard any of them talking about it. So I will say this is in the nosebleed section for Republican. I haven't heard anyone talking about it. I can't remember anybody talking about it or campaigning with affirmative action at all. So the next group is also the business group advocating for the environmental regulation. This is one of the strong points of Democrats. They want regulation on climate change, regulation like climate change, and so it's in the front seat for Democrat. But for Republican, I would say it's in the floor seats. So even I'm sorry, I can't remember the name right now, but I would just say it's in the floor seats. I'm sorry. For health, yeah, this is also the business group, which groups, companies like the insurance companies, they are against Medicaid for all. They are advocating against Medicaid for all. So for Democrats, this is a front seat issue. In fact, for both Democrats and Republican, is a front seat issue for obvious reasons. COVID-19, everyone feels it's for Democrat. They feel it's very important for everyone to have health care, affordable health care. For Republican, they feel government shouldn't bear the cost. If everyone wants to have it, it shouldn't be government. It would be too much on the government. It's also a front seat issue because of COVID-19, of course. So this is the short video. I think that will be all. Thank you.